Hello fellow coffee wallowers, in this video we're going to be talking about this, the Lelit Victoria. I've reviewed the Lelit Anna, Mara X and Bianca, which will be linked in the description, and lots of people have been asking me to also review the Victoria, so here we go. Let's start off with the specs. Dimensions, 22.8cm wide, 27cm deep, or 37cm including the portafilter handle, and 38cm tall. 300ml brass boiler, auto filling, brass group 58mm, 58mm portafilter, E61 compatible, PID or PID, which just means it has an algorithmic temperature controller that's smarter than a standard thermostat, LCC, Lelit Control Center, which is a name of the digital interface, shot timer via the LCC, adjustable brew temperature from 80 to 110 degrees Celsius in 1 degree increments, adjustable steam temperature from 110 to 140 degrees in 1 degree increments, preset pre-brew, pre-infusion, which you can turn off and on, 3-way solenoid valve, vibration pump, OPV, which is adjustable but it's internal and it's a bit of a faff to adjust, brew pressure gauge, measuring the pressure in the basket, water sensor that warns you when the water is low, reserve mode, which basically means it warns you early to give you time to top up the tank, single and double shot standard baskets, 2.5 litre water tank, deceptively big capacity drip tray about 0.7 litres, optional 30-minute standby time, heating up progress bar, 10cm cup clearance with the supplied portafilter. What is the Lelit Victoria? This is one of the more premium single boiler PID espresso machines, similar to the Profitec Go but slightly more affordable, and I will go into more detail into that comparison later. First impressions. It's slim and compact, only 23cm wide, and it's stunning in my opinion, as long as you don't look too closely at the steam knob, which I think could be nicer. How much is it? I've had to change this bit because the prices have recently increased slightly, in the UK at least. So this is now £759.95 in the UK, €879 in Germany, $999.95 in America, in dollars. What's the espresso like? It'll depend on the beans you're using and on the grinder and your home barista skills, but this is capable of very good espresso, especially with more traditional medium to dark roast beans. Perfect. I'm not saying you can't use lighter roasts with this machine, by the way, but it's the pre-wetting type pre-infusion and it's fixed, not adjustable, but more on that shortly. Speaking of coffee beans, this would probably be a good time to hear from the sponsor. I was actually trying to get a sponsorship deal with a new brand of plaster, or Band-Aid, but I couldn't pull it off. So this week's sponsor is me. My coffee beans from the Coffee Works are freshly roasted, usually on the date of dispatch. We have a growing range, currently 20 different coffees, and they're amazing. But I would say that. Find out for yourself. Use discount code YT25 for 25% off your first order at cworks.co.uk. If you can hear that sound, we appear to be filming in a storm. It's very windy, and it's not just me. What's the heat up time? From cold, 7 minutes 40 seconds, and that's with 220 volts power. It'll probably take a couple of minutes longer on 110 volts. What's the progress bar? On the screen, there's a loading type bar that tells you where it's up to when heating, and also when heating up to steam temperature and cooling back down after pulling shots. It's a little thing, but I think it's quite nice. It gives you a clue of where it's up to, rather than keeping you in the dark. What's the steam power like? Steaming 170ml of milk to 60 degrees Celsius at 140 degrees Celsius max steam temperature takes around 35 to 36 seconds. What's the steam ready time? About 90 seconds to get to 140 degrees Celsius. What's the shot ready time after steaming milk? Just leave the steam valve open and it takes about 35 seconds. What's the hot water temperature like? Usually around the mid-70s. What's the hot water power like? Very good. 200ml of hot water takes about 18.5 seconds to dispense. It's a small jet under high pressure, so you probably want to do it water first for Americano or long black. Espresso first could get a bit messy due to the water pressure. What's the pre-infusion like? This is a pre-brew or pre-wetting type pre-infusion, about 3 seconds of water delivered into the basket and then a 3-second pause. Pre-infusion started with commercial machines with line pressure. Water is allowed to enter the group without pump pressure before ramping up to full pressure. You don't get that kind of pre-infusion without a plumbed-in machine, but some machines mimic that kind of pre-infusion, with water entering the basket under lower pressure and then ramping up to full pressure. All of the Sage or Breville machines do this, for example, and with the dual boiler in particular, you have a lot of control over the pre-infusion, including the pump power and the time. Some machines, including the Victoria, have a kind of pre-infusion that delivers water into the group under full pressure, and then a pause before the shot continues. Generally speaking, the pre-wetting or pre-brewing type pre-infusion is better suited to more classic espresso profiles, and longer, more gentle ramped up pre-infusion is better suited to lighter roasts. What's the portafilter like? It's the Lelit coffee slide portafilter, which I do think is very cool. It means you can see the coffee coming down the spouts, and if you listen very carefully, you might be able to hear the coffee enjoying itself. Whee! The chrome-plated brass portafilter head is really heavyweight. Ow, it's hot! Yeah. The chrome-plated brass portafilter head is really heavyweight, quite a bit over half a kilo. The handle is plastic, and okay, it feels quite nice in the hand, actually with this ergonomic finger dimple, but it is very top-heavy due to the light handle, so it doesn't feel all that well balanced. It's an E61 compatible fitting, which does mean you have plenty of choice when it comes to other portafilters. Loads of choices if you want to go for a bottomless portafilter, for example. How do you disable the auto standby mode? Like this. Turn it off, hold all 3 buttons in and then turn it on. If the hot water button is now not flashing, you've disabled the standby. If you repeat this, the light on the bottom button will flash, indicating that the standby mode is now on. After doing this, you'll need to turn it off and back on again to use the machine. How does it compare to the Profitec Go? This is the most obvious comparison. The Profitec Go is one of the most popular premium single boiler espresso machines, and they're really quite closely matched. Both brass boilers, the Profitec Go is 400ml versus the Victoria's 300ml. Same element power, 1200 watts. The Go reportedly has a slightly quicker heat up time, which is interesting given it has a bigger boiler in the same wattage, but I think there's maybe a minute or so in it. I've not had my greasy mitts on the Go just yet, so I can only do this from research, but from what I can gather, the main difference is the externally adjustable OPV and the adjustable pre-infusion which the Go has over the Victoria. Manufacturers, if you're watching this, we want easily adjustable OPVs, and most manufacturers have been slow on the uptake. Even Gazia still, after 30 years of knowing that the first thing home baristas do with the Classic is to adjust the OPV, haven't put an easily adjustable OPV on the Classic, which I just can't understand. And yes, they have now released a machine with an externally adjustable OPV, so they're listening, but I still don't get why they've never done this with the Classic, which we've been talking about recently in the members section and which I'll be reviewing very soon. Feel free to ignore what the customer wants though. New, more innovative brands will come along and give the customer what they're looking for. Apex or Legato version 2, for example. Just the beginning, I reckon. You can adjust the OPV on the Victoria, but you have to take it apart, and I'm told it's a bit of a faff. Not that it would be a faff for me, I'd just get my espresso machine engineer friend Radu to do it for me. The pre-infusion on the Go is a gradual ramp-up pre-infusion versus the pre-wet and pause type pre-infusion used on the Victoria, so you might find the Profitec Go more suitable if you're planning on using lighter roasts. What I like about it? I like most things about it actually. I mainly like the way it looks, except for the steam dial. I really like the progress bar. It takes up really little space. It heats up fairly quickly for a boiler machine. The steam ready time isn't too bad. The shot ready time after steaming is nifty as long as you open the steam valve. I really like the portafilter, and overall I think this is a great machine for the money, and I reckon most people will be very happy with the results straight out of the box. What I don't like about it? I think the plastic steam dial is a bit of a letdown. I said the same of the Anna, so hopefully they can fix this in the future, or I'm sure someone in the community will make mods like the ones you can get for the Classic Pro. It comes out of the box with the OPV set to about 10 bars. Many people will want that set to 9. Some people want it lower than that. I think it would be a huge improvement if there was an external adjustment, so you didn't have to mess about opening it up to change that. There's no way to get the water tank down into the machine without sticking your fingers inside the water tank, which means you end up with your fingers in the water if you fill it to the max. I'd much prefer if it came with a water tank like the Mara X and Bianca with a handle. And there we go, the Lelit Victoria. And this week it is Marmalade Flat White.
So higher hopes this week compared to last week. I'm not sure on that one.
Do you notice any difference in the mouth feel, the body? Because to me it goes really smooth and velvety.
It's just a weird sweetness. Give it 4 out of 10 beans. It's just not a massive like syrup. It just tastes like a syrup.
I'd give that 7.
Let's do this. That's a no from me. Very zesty, obviously from the the crazy taste of the marmalade, but no.
No.
It's a 2 on the bean scale. Yeah, it's horrible.
Next week's Coffee of the Week will be decided by members only, so get voting. Before signing off, I'd just like to shout out our new members. Thank you so much for becoming official Coffee Botherers. You're personally helping us to grow the channel. If you want to become a member, just click the join button below the video. Members get early access to videos, community areas, fun emojis, and more coming soon. Cheers! Thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, drop us a like as it really helps. And if you want more coffee related content, click on my face to subscribe. Tatty Bye!